This is brutal. Oh my god. Oh no.
What did you actually do? From like your pick on whatever.
Whoa! Bro, what? No! What?
What did you actually do? From like your pick on.
Pretty sure it's planned engagement farm, no? Is it? Well, we just got farmed, so this is why I glue my wig onto my head. What keyboard is this? I want the switches. It's like a $400 keyboard, don't get it. The switches are nice though. It's an Asus ROG something keyboard. Look at the most expensive one. That's it.
I think we have a president who is competent, and he has a grasp on the economy and what is happening, and he knows how to fix it after 4 years of destruction.
Tariffs are working?
I mean, it's a no-brainer for me. I think we have a president.
Jader Fernanda, who is supposedly a programmer that can't close Vim, wants you to know that this is the best keyboard, though. Here you go. It's missing like half the keys, though, so. The HHKB Professional Hybrid Type S. And it's blank, so you're an ultra gamer, ultra Chad. I feel like not having the control key down here, though, would actually fuck my head for gaming. Like, I don't think I would enjoy that. I think not having control there would actually mind fuck me. We just rebind caps lock? Well, you'd have to, but I'm used to hitting it with like this part of my hand. Like, to not have a key down there would mind fuck me.
Tectone.
Jesus, I'm good. There was a keyboard that I could never use while I was playing StarCraft that people were liking for a while that I also hated. And it was a Logitech keyboard, but it had 5 function keys on the left side of the keyboard. It was over the, like to the left of where, does anybody know what I'm talking about? I hated it wasn't this one exactly, but it was a similar, oh, it was this, whatever this is here. I would reach over it because I feel like my hand is anchored, at least when I'm playing FPS. No, even in StarCraft, it's anchored to this left side of the keyboard. I would hit this like G5 key or whatever so many fucking times while trying to hit control. It would go over too far. Oh my fucking God. I could not handle it. Holy shit. Jader made me buy an HHKB a few months ago. I will vouch, best keyboard I've ever used. I've never looked back. Learning a new layout is definitely worth. Is there not one with like a traditional, even a 10 keyless one, or like a no numpad one? Do you have the MX Master Mouse? No, I have the Logitech G Pro Super Light. Destiny, did you see this one? Oh, yeah, this was linked earlier. Okay, my final microphone shit is here, but I didn't get a code for it. I need to go down and pick that up. And tonight I have all my wireless microphones. Holy Jesus. How fucking hyped. IRL life is blessed. Maybe I'll pop in to play Ark with Steven sometime and yell at him for old time's sake. IRL life? In real life life? Major yikes there. Yikes. Major yikes. Huh, good one. Your audio seems off. I'm not getting beta with that. You got the SM58Ss? Yeah, and the charging bases and all sorts of fun stuff. Oh boy. Do you know why the CIA censored this document? Lauren was featured in so stupidly. I haven't looked over the... I've seen this picture, but there was like more to this that I haven't seen, but... That feel when your Kiwi Farms posters work in the CIA. Radicalization and disengagement pathways among female, white, racially and ethnically motivated violent extremists and sympathizers. Damn. Got him. You might understand you have two PCs and you run games on one, but stream output of the game on the other for saving resources and whatnot. Yep. I remember the OK craze with making the OK sign meant you're a Nazi. Oh my God. Oh wait, hold on actually. You have two PCs so you can run Chrome without crashing. True. No, fuck you. My shit is fine. I'm not getting baited. Right? Testing, 1, 2. No, I'm not getting baited. Stop. Is that a real picture? Okay. Okay. Have this while I get my mics. 1 second.
I have a PhD in physics. I've been working as a physicist for over a decade, and I'm here to tell you what the physics establishment doesn't want you to know. General relativity doesn't work. Quantum mechanics isn't real. Black holes don't exist. CERN is just a big hole in the ground. No one has ever seen a particle. Magnetic monopoles definitely exist, and they power perpetual motion machines for like fast travel, like in WoW, but only wealthy people are allowed to use them. This is a video about crackpots. That's it. That's the intro.
It is fair penance that physicists and cosmologists be subjected to the constant unsolicited inflow of helpful, if mostly nonsensical ideas. Why is this fair? Because physicists and cosmologists are the official purveyors of the greatest nonsense of all, under the banner of science. No wonder physicists are cranky, bullying, and hostile. Had they not made so many mistakes and failed to correct them, they could be lauded, but they are locked into a Sisyphean struggle against dead-end ideas and a public that is increasingly aware of their nonsense.
A crackpot is an eccentric amateur physicist working on an unfounded, non-mathematically rigorous theory of physics, and the air quotes are going to be doing a lot of heavy lifting in this video. A crackpot will then send this theory to a physicist and demand a response. But really, they're demanding praise for being a physics genius. There are exactly two types of crackpots. Type A is the retired engineer, like someone who worked in a science adjacent field, like maybe when they started college they wanted to study physics, but life got in the way, and now that they are retired, they finally have the time to dedicate to their passion. And I think that's amazing. I admire that so much. But the problem is that instead of maybe watching some Khan Academy videos or taking an entry-level physics course, they jump just head first into whatever topic's been fascinating them for the past 30 years. So like, gonna pull out a graduate level textbook on general relativity or the latest paper on dark energy or string theory, and immediately they're completely lost. So they're like, this doesn't make sense to me at all. This isn't what I thought physics would be like. And instead of like chuckling to themselves and saying I should get back to elementary level physics to get started and spending the time to build up that background, the crackpot kind of responds like, I don't understand this at all. This must be wrong. Physicists are wrong. I'm gonna start writing my own theories. Here is an example I found on a Crackpots website to kind of highlight this personality. I can say that physicists were right on top of the solution for so long, but were wearing very specific blinders due to false prior interpretations. I happen to be lucky and useful idiot savant who might have gone into physics research as a career, but chose big public corporate systems engineering instead. Since I never dove deep into advanced physics and the associated mathematics, I was not inculcated with the approaches. So at this point, they've decided that physicists are wrong and they're going to be working on their own theories, and they never go back to learn the math. Type B is very similar. I'm going to call it the dropout. So it's a smart person. He grew up probably enjoying physics, probably enjoying popular science media related to physics, like Michio Kaku books and The Big Bang Theory. And he goes to college and he's like, I'm a smart person. I'm going to do physics. And I'm going to help the world with my smartness and my physicsness. And he doesn't do that well. So he will go to the TA's office and be like, I don't understand. I'm smart. Physics is innate. I should be good at physics. I understand the physics. I just don't understand the math. And that's why I failed the test, which is very funny. You can't do physics without math. When you say I understand the physics but not the math, you're kind of saying you understand physics the way a baby understands physics. Like a baby in a high chair holding a ball knows that when she throws that ball, two things are going to happen. It's going to kill, everyone's going to laugh, they're going to love it, and two, the ball will hit the ground. That baby does not know physics. That baby does not know what the word gravity means, but she understands physics without understanding the math. But that is not doing academic physics. That is not doing physics research. That is just living in the world and having a body and experiencing the world. So our dropout tries to convince the teacher how good they are at physics, and they're unsuccessful because they don't take the time to learn math, which is very common with crackpots, and they fail the course. And that is when they decide there's something wrong. There's something wrong with physics. There's something wrong with the way physics is taught. There's something wrong with the professors. I am smart. I should be good at physics. There's something wrong. And they start developing a theory of physics. A perfect example of that I found recently on Nate Silver's Twitter. Now, I'm not saying Nate Silver is a physics crackpot. He is an economist, but he tweeted this and it just encapsulates that attitude perfectly. When I went to college, I was debating between being a physics major and an econ major, and I found the introductory physics courses a lot more alienating. So I majored in econ. Lots of formal and hard, at least to me, math, and little focus on conceptual understanding. But it's very funny to me for two reasons. The first is that Nate Silver is a professional economist, and economics is a hard science. There is a lot of complicated math in economics. Like the movie A Beautiful Mind, John Nash is a Nobel Prize winner in economics, and the math looks like this. And an entry-level physics course, the math looks like this. And I know math anxiety is real. I'm confident, Nate Silver, you could have done this math if you just studied at home, if you practiced algebra before going to physics. Like, why do crackpots think that physics should be innate and easy? Why not take the time to learn the language of physics?
The problem with electron theory is it cannot properly describe how a capacitor works.
So we have our crackpot boys. They have different backgrounds, but their attitude towards physics is very, very similar. They expect physics to be innate. They are smart. They should be able to get it. The fact that they cannot understand a physicist's paper on first read means that there is a problem and their theories will be better. Even though they haven't worked in physics, even though they don't know the language of physics, they don't know the math, they will produce a theory of physics, a paradigm shift in how we think about the world. And the fact that they don't have a physics education, they don't have a physics background, it's a boon. It's going to help them. They are a gift to the world, and we just have to listen.
How cosmic evolution happened with no Big Bang, no dark energy, no dark matter, nothing dark at all.
So I'm not a famous physicist. You don't know me. You don't know what my work is. I probably receive 30 or 40 crackpot emails a year. And as a woman, I receive way less than my male colleagues of like a similar career level, which is interesting. crackpots. But I can't imagine how many emails, well, his secretary, how many emails Kip Thorne's secretary receives from 1,000 crackpots a year, maybe? But what's amazing is that all of these theories are identical, and this phenomena of individual crackpots writing identical theories of physics has been known for a super long time. If you Google crackpot physics, this list will come up, and it's kind of just like a quiz, like a checklist, like a bingo card for crackpot theories of physics, because again, they are so similar. And this is from the 90s. Crackpot physicists have existed for as long as physics has been like a popular science to get into. They used to type their theories and mail them in the physical mail. They used to fax them to physics offices. I don't want to go through a crackpot theory and like point out all the bingos. I'm more interested in like the global phenomena, like what makes all of these crackpots come up with the same ideas and why won't the physicists respond? What about your emails? No one's responding to your emails. So I just want to talk about four things that scream crackpot to me when I see them.
At the center of any supermass, there is obviously no gravity. You can take the largest mass in the universe, the center of which obviously you would free float if you could go to the center of it, correct? So where is the center of gravity?
The first thing emblematic of crackpot theories is that they're always huge, not in length, but in like concept. A crackpot wants to solve the world's biggest problem. They want to be a paradigm shift in the way we understand physics. They will prove that quantum mechanics is wrong. They will prove gravity doesn't exist. They will prove that electrons aren't real, black holes aren't real, just the hugest things. Like a standard crackpot theory is a theory of everything, where they're combining quantum mechanics and general relativity, a feat that would be quite shocking if it were true. And that's kind of the point for crackpots. A crackpot does not want to do physics. A crackpot wants to be a famous physicist. They want the world to know their name. When you say Newton, when you say Einstein, the way Einstein is like a literal colloquialism for intelligence, that's what they want their name to be. So they would never waste their time looking at a small problem. And if anything, if I ever got a crackpot email that was like solving a small problem, I would read it. I would love to see it. Like, I want to see astrophysicists don't take into account granular sorting when they model planetary formation, which means they have 2 times as many planet outputs as they should. Like, what a small, beautiful little problem to solve. I would love to see it. I would love to see a crackpot just be like, here's my method of laser ablation that's 3 times as fast as any other current method. But no, it's always going to be like, here's why relativity is not real. Here's why the speed of light is actually 2c. Got 'em.
So what would an observer see if they were near the galactic center? Well, that's misleading because there is no valid XYZ coordinate that an observer on Earth can attribute to the center of our own galaxy, because space-time itself is traveling at a higher momentum there.
The second thing is, if you do get past the title of like my theory of everything, and you open that PDF, you will find no physics at all. There's no math. Because a crackpot doesn't have physics training, they don't understand math, they don't understand what a physics project looks like. You won't see any math. And for this, I kind of blame science communication. Like, if you give a public talk on quantum mechanics, you can't send a text message 2 days before to be like, hey guys, make sure you're up on your field theory before you come to my public lecture on quantum mechanics. You can't do math in a public lecture. So what do? You come up with stories, with thought experiments, with cool little diagrams. And you're like, let me explain the theory to you. But that theory is not the diagrams. It's not the cute little stories. Like Schrodinger's cat is not the proof of the uncertainty principle. It's not the derivation of this uncertainty principle. Schrodinger's cat is a joke. It's a story. It's a little funny thing to say to poke at like the absurdity of quantum mechanics. But a crackpot will write a theory where they disprove they will disprove Schrodinger's cat, which is not what quantum mechanics is, and they will just write a cute little story about how you can put a camera in the box and tell if the cat's alive, therefore quantum mechanics is wrong. And it's just like, that's Schrodinger's cat isn't the theory. So when you open a crackpot theory, you will never see a derivation. You will never see correct math. Crackpots are fond of just like taking an equation, like the Schrodinger equation, and just like sticking in a little constant, being like, this is the nu, and nu is for consciousness in the wave, and I've added it. And it's like, okay, but what are the units? What are the units of consciousness? Isn't that gonna mess up your equation? They don't know. They don't care.
As De Broglie's equations apply to all matter, we can fundamentally establish that C equals HF, where C stands for consciousness, H for the constant of Planck, and F for frequency.
That leads me to the third thing that tells me this email is actually a crackpot theory of physics. Crackpots are incredibly angry at the physics community. Crackpots will send you emails in all caps with random words in bold and in red, and say things like, the physics establishment will regret not listening to me. If this email doesn't reach Neil deGrasse Tyson in 72 hours, you'll be sorry. Like, you have ignored me for the last time. And honestly, bros, it's a little terrifying, because physicists usually work at public universities. Like, you can Google your local university, go to their physics department, and find out what building that physicist is going to be in all day. Find out where she's teaching her classes, where her office is, when her office hours are. So the reason I'm never responding to a crackpot email is because they are so angry, and it's scary, and like, it's all fun and games, like, ha ha ha, these people don't understand physics. But think about how delusional you have to be. Like, you open a physics textbook and you're like, I don't understand a word of this. Like, a normal response would be like, of course I don't understand this advanced topic. I haven't had physics since high school. Maybe I should start with something a little easier. But the physics crackpot had that experience and was like, well, all physics is wrong. I'm right. I will be Albert Einstein. And instead of taking a class, instead of learning math, they spent 3 years independently researching their theory and writing it up. And they sent it to physicists, and physicists respond like it's a joke, because it's obviously crank. Like, there's nothing there. There's no physics there. And these people get very angry. Like, I have worked on this theory for 3 years and you laugh at me? I am going to change the world. And this is terrifying. The American Physical Society has a conference every year, and every year they have a crackpot session. If you pay your dues and you are an active member of APS, you can go to the conference and you can present. And you know why? In 1952, after his paper on how the electrons don't exist was rejected, a man got on a bus, went to New York, went to the APS office, and shot the first person he saw. The first person he saw was 20-year-old Eileen Fahey, and she died. And so now, if you pay your dues, you can go and you can present your physics, because the APS doesn't want something like that to happen again. But it happened, and crackpots are scary. That's why no one's responding to your emails. The idea that a random person just sitting in their bedroom could come up with a better theory than the literal thousands of people who work on this every day and have for hundreds of years is delusional. And when you talk about this with people who aren't physicists, they're like, well, what if they're right? What if they're right? And that's the fourth thing.
So my conclusion is particle physics as practiced since 1930 is an entirely futile enterprise.
And that's the fourth thing about crackpots. They will never be right because they have no physics training. The theories they send are not physics theories in any sense of the word. Most people do not work at like the forefront of science. And so they're like, what if they're right? What if a crackpot is right? What if they're right? And it's hard to explain, like, it's impossible for them to be right because they are not doing physics at all. Like, they could never be right because they don't even take the step to have a physics idea. So in classic physicist fashion, I have prepared an illustration, a cute little story a la Schrodinger's cat, to explain to you what it's like to receive a crackpot email. Imagine you work in a restaurant and you have been head chef for 12 years. People love your food, people love your recipes. One day before a dinner rush, someone just busts into your kitchen and he says, you're part of the chef establishment. You don't know what a recipe is. You're all wrong. I am the best chef in the world. I make the best recipes. You're garbage. And they just throw a takeout box like down in front of you on like your bench. How do you feel? You're pissed, right? Like, how dare this person come into your successful restaurant and call you garbage? You're mad, right? That's incredibly rude. But you're curious. You're curious. So you open the takeout box and it's Play-Doh. It's Play-Doh arranged to look like a pasta, the way like a child, a 3-year-old would make. So you laugh because you think it's a joke. This man came in all pretending to be angry and he's like, look at my recipe, it's the best. And it's not even a recipe, it's Play-Doh. How funny. And when you're laughing, he looks at you and you see that crazy, like delusional, like empty eyes. And he starts screaming, how dare you laugh at me? I've been working on this recipe for 3 years. I will change the world. I am the Bobby Flay of 2022. How dare you? And now you're scared, right? Because this man thinks this is food, but it's Play-Doh. It's not food. How did he work on this for 3 years? He never Googled what is a recipe, what is food. He didn't go to a restaurant to test other people's food. He's been working on this for 3 years and now he's in your kitchen. He knows where you are. It's scary. And now imagine people are like, well, what if he's right? What if he's right? He's been working on it for so long. Maybe that is the best recipe. And you're like, it's not even food. It's Play-Doh. It's not food. He didn't do the basic. He's not speaking my language. I can't eat this. Crackpots have no conception of how physics works, and they take rejection as evidence that their theory is correct because they're delusional. They think like, see, it just proves that the physics establishment is afraid of me. They'll cite Galileo and say, just like Galileo was proven right, I will be proven right. And it's like, everyone believed Galileo. What are you talking about? They'll be like, Einstein was bad at math. He was a patent clerk. And it's just like, what? Of course, Einstein was brilliant at math. He's like the most famous theoretical physicist. He was a patent clerk, but he was also a professor. He was also trained in physics. Like, people believed Galileo, but he pissed off the church. And so they were afraid to talk to him because they would be murdered by the church. That has nothing to do with the science that Galileo did. Me not responding to your email because I'm scared of you is not evidence that your theory is right. It's evidence that I'm scared of you. So I wanted to make this because I am incredibly fascinated by this worldview, by the idea that one should be able to just enter a field with no background and then champion that field. Like, crackpots exist in other fields. Like if you're looking for female crackpots, go to medicine or like essential oil situations, like the flat earth thing a few years ago. That was technically physics crackpots, but it was different, right? It was hundreds of people all doing experiments. And
was this an interesting video? Was this a good babysitter?
Trying to point to global conspiracy. But like, crackpot physicists, they work alone. They're worried that any interaction with physicists will make them steal their theories or taint their ideas. Like, they need to have the final product and they need to publish it on their own so that the world knows they're Einstein. If you work with a group, you can't be Einstein, right? Whereas physicists work in probably, I would say the average is like a group of three to 10 big collaborations. Like a CERN paper will have 1,000 authors. The EHT paper that had that published the black hole images from a couple of years ago had hundreds of authors, just because the low-hanging fruit is gotten. You can't be a physicist working by yourself. Like, people definitely still publish single author papers, but it's much more rare, and it's much more common for big papers with big results to have many people on them. How did this happen? How did you get the confidence to think that you are Albert Einstein? Stay tuned for part 2. Can physicists be crackpot physicists?
Did she actually debunk any of the supposed crackpots, or is she just ad homing them all?
Yes. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.
Destiny, this was behind you? Oh shit, I didn't want anybody to see this on stream.
It's October 19th, 2017.
The problem is people are so judgmental, okay? He's not fat, okay? He just has a unique diet, all right?
Robert.
Sorry, I was on a private call right there. My bad. I wasn't talking to you guys. Okay. Before I watch more videos, I need to fact check all these things down here. True or false?
Thing with Martina Navratilova.
What do you mean I have nothing? What do you mean?
A beef. You know, she
Oh no, I've seen this before. It's probably not the right take.
has beef with you.
Why did she have a beef with me?
Because you think like
We're good on that. I don't need to do that. A little bit too far down the wokey thing.
No! Yeah! Jesus!
What's the take in the vid? It's Neil deGrasse Tyson saying, like, well, maybe men-women divisions in sports aren't good, and we should actually divide everybody by, like, their hormone levels. And it's just not... Or actually, I don't know what take he was going to give there. I'm just looking at the title, and I've heard him give this take before.
Navratilova.
What do you mean I have nothing? What do you mean?
A beef. You know, she has beef with you.
Why did she have a beef with me?
Because you think like guys with dicks should get in the women's swimming pool, basically.
Well, whatever got clipped and reposted, I don't know. But what I said was that in this emergent space where you have people expressing themselves on a gender spectrum, and you want to now compete in sports, that's still a frontier to be solved. And I don't have the answer, but I can suggest one, whether or not it'll work. Maybe we don't compete by gender anymore. We compete on hormone ratios, okay? There was a woman who had uncommonly high testosterone levels, and they wanted to disqualify her because of how manly she was. when she was born a woman and competing as a woman. So if that's how we're going to do it,
this again, this
is
what
you really want. Wait, Bill, no, I've thought this through more than you might think I have. So what you really want is an interesting contest between people who are similarly talented. The least interesting Super Bowl you could ever watch is a blowout by halftime.
See, what we agree on is that there are.
So like, and I understand, I can sympathize a little bit as a non-sports watcher. Okay, I can understand Neil deGrasse Tyson maybe thinking that what you want to see in sports is everybody evenly matched, but that's not true. You want to see people that represent certain things in sports. So it might be people from your country. It might be men competing against men, but it's these like classes of things that aren't hardcore measured and scientifically calculated and then put in that. Like you want to see something more broad than that. Like the category of man versus woman, like man is a meaningful thing that we all identify with. We don't necessarily identify with like hormone levels. It's a kind of it's a mini autistic take about sports because like in Neil deGrasse Tyson's world, college football would be one of the least popular sports of all time. It literally has a big brother sport, the NFL, that is where the players are better in every single conceivable way. Why would you ever watch college football? Well, because people identify with college football sometimes. Their city might not have, or their state even sometimes might not have an NFL team. Maybe you come from a college, maybe it's just close to you, maybe your college teams are popular for whatever reason, but like the fact that you only want to see the best of the best of the best is not necessarily the case,
There are anomalies in human nature, whereas, the vast majority of people, I'm sorry, are still male or female. And certainly every cell in our body is dictating one of those other sexes. I mean, obviously,
hormones are. Yeah.
Obviously, also, I make sperm and other people make eggs.
That's what hormones do.
You can't deny that. Okay. So but we, as liberals, I think agree that, there are anomalies in nature and they should be respected and protected. But this attempt to reorganize all of society around what.
LOL, you can tell Destiny never watched sports. He probably can't even differentiate between LeBron and Michael Jackson. Well, LeBron is one of the best basketball players of all time. Michael Jackson just had that thing where he was touching the kid in the back, but he used to be a good basketball player. So I actually do know the difference. Okay, you fucking retard. And Michael Jackson had a legendary basketball dunk move they called the moonwalk, retard.
But a very tiny percentage who, again, we can protect and respect without pretending that every baby is a jump ball like penis. What the fuck? I don't know. That doesn't mean anything. We have no idea what this child is. I mean, that seems to be where you want to go. I mean, like, how many people fit this description that we should reorganize sports around? We have men's sports and women's sports. And if the best team in the WNBA played the worst team in the NBA, the score would be 1,000,000-0. Can we organize society around that basic point with this, of course, proviso that we protect and respect people who do not fit into it?
Let's segregate society between dark-skinned people and light-skinned people because that nature made it that way, and that's how it is. So,
nature did make it that way, and it's not segregating.
Well, there was a time
segregating anything.
That attitude 150 years ago was
2 years ago. You act like this was yes, right? Lincoln. This was a big issue in the Lincoln-Douglas debates. Trans people. That's right.
I
remember that.
I'm talking about
1861. Yes, I remember those debates.
It was 1860.
Lincoln was all about getting trans. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Okay. I think he's just saying that in response to MAGA people not caring if they're biologically male or female or not because they rage at women and women's anyway and transvestigate since they don't care, maybe we should just do this idea. Yeah, but we're not going to change the organization of all women's sports or all men's sports or all sports just for trans people. It's such a losing battle, okay? Okay, let's listen to this and we'll see if Loner hits on any of these points. I don't know if he'll source stuff as he's chatting with Hutch or not, but
we used to go to this. We found
1
it.
month ago.
We called it. I think we called it the dip. I don't remember what we called it. But we would pack 5 deep in my buddy's Ford Festiva, which if you don't know what the kind of car that is, it's like basically like a tiny aluminum can. Like it's a really small, tiny car. And we used to hit this dip, and it was just like in a residential suburban neighborhood. And he would hit the dip going about 70 miles.
Sometimes.
You play WoW? How tall are you? You seem tall.
You have good hair.
Yeah. I think we all have good hair here, guys. Come on.
Well,
right now, yeah, you just haven't brushed it today.
So, Loner, I wanted you to come on and be our consultant and tell us what's going on with fucking UK politics. What is the state of things? Apparently, Labour's not doing great.
It's all pretty.
You guys are fucked.
It's all pretty unprecedented. Yeah, we're used to having two very old school parties running pretty much everything, and now the polls can never decide who's in second place. First place is solidly the Reform Party, who are basically the closest we're going to get to MAGA and strange sympathies with Russia and anti-immigration and crackpot economic policy. So yeah, we're looking forward.
When are the next elections in the United Kingdom? Like, real quick, when you talk about like Reform Party, Tories, Labour, this is the government we're talking about for the entirety of the UK, right? It's not just like the English whatever bullshit, right? Okay, 4 years. Do they ever do like snap elections, or will they ever have like a random election? Literally, the Prime Minister can do an election whenever he wants. Okay. They could call it, when you say they, does that have to be like the majority government? Okay. So unless a bunch of people drop out of the Liberal Party, or the PM is crazy or whatever, I'm guessing they would never do that, right? What? It's very likely with Labour bleeding support? Labour. When I say Liberal, I mean Labour. My bad. Labour. Oh God! All right.
Or do it. They're probably going to be the largest party in the next election.
5 minutes for every
unless something big changes. That's where we are now. We're kind of unique in the UK compared to Europe because most of Europe has had, for the last 10, 15 years, they have been having this surge of far-right parties where they suddenly get between like 15, 20, 25% in the polls, and they start to maybe influence elections, or they can even get in power. The UK has resisted that for a long time, probably because the Conservative Party did a good job at kind of keeping them quiet. But then we finally caught up. So it looks like the next election, we're going to have our own brand.
Here's the galaxy brain maneuver. This is what you do if you're Starmer, all right? Get back into the single market tomorrow, all right? Get back into the single market tomorrow. And then it's a complete beautiful situation, right? Farage is fucked.
Wait, what does it mean get back into the single market? Into the European Union market? Is that sounds, would the EU even accept that? Pisco knows nothing? Is that, okay. At this point, yeah, no, no. They might. Okay.
And you just sandbag him if he gets in office with 6 more years of Brexit.
No, I agree.
Why is that not?
Yeah, Starmer's popularity. No, you're not ambitious enough. Starmer's popularity is fucked, and he keeps on trying to do mid 2000s, 90s normal politician things to get people to like him, like publishing a Christmas letter that he wrote to his son or some shit, like to make himself look relatable. No, yeah, he should do it. No, don't stop it. Going back into the single market, like raise taxes on the middle and upper class and fund cool social programs that everyone actually wants to see funded. Increase defense and help Ukraine more. Like do all the things because everyone's gonna hate you anyway. Like you might as well. You've got the majority. Just go blast them.
You should do Bidenomics.
Yeah. I was going to ask, isn't his leadership on Ukraine giving him a big boost, or is that not what people are concerned about?
It's not giving him a big boost, no. Like we've had, no, it's not, because our most popular party in the UK is one where one of the members, who was actually quite close to Farage, he was caught and is going to jail now because he was taking bribes from Russians for talking points.
Okay.
For talking points that were not all that different from talking points that Farage has given.
Well, I'm confused. It sounds like your country imprisons people for being Russian stooges.
Well, it was a bribe as a politician from Russians. He was one of the members who was actually quite close to Farage. He was caught and is going to jail now because he was taking bribes from Russians.
Okay, I need to know about this. Russian bribes UK politician. Former Welsh Reform leader. Does this mean he's part of the Reform Party, or he's going to run as a Reform candidate from Wales, or is there like a special Welsh Reform Party? Oh my God. Okay. The former leader of Reform UK in Wales has been sentenced to 10.5 years in prison after admitting taking bribes for pro-Russia interviews and speeches. Nathan Gill, 52, from Llangefni, Anglesey, Jesus Christ, is thought to have received up to £40,000 in total for helping pro-Russian politicians in Ukraine. He was a member of the European Parliament when he accepted money from Oleg Voloshin, 44, a man once described by the U.S. as a pawn of Russian Secret Services. The Old Bailey, Judge Mrs. Justice Chima Grubb. This is. Am I reading a real article? Are these real names? Chima Grubb said Gill had abused his position and eroded public confidence in democracy. Voloshin was acting on behalf of close friend Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian oligarch Viktor Medvedchuk, 71, who was the source of both the request and the cash. The Met Police said investigations into whether any other officials or individuals have committed offenses are continuing. Reform UK said it was glad justice was served amid calls for a further investigation. CDR Dominic Murphy, finally, head of the Met Police's counterterrorism team, said Gill was an extraordinarily willing participant in the bribery, describing his actions as a threat to national security. He said the case formed part of a breadth of activity by Russia, including incidents such as the Salisbury poisonings in 2018. Like Salisbury steak? Did they poison the steaks, or is this like a city too or something? Okay. It was a town where Russia used biological weapons to try and assassinate somebody. Okay, based. Not based, sorry. Gill was an MEP from 2014 to 2020, initially for UKIP and then the Brexit Party. God damn, this guy. Oh my God. I feel like every time I see anything related to these words, it's always going to be the most retarded shit I've ever heard in my life. UKIP, Brexit Party, Reform. I feel like it's always like... Didn't Sargon of Akkad run for the... Was he running for UKIP, I think? He was bribed to defend the two channels, 112 Ukraine and News 1 in the European Parliament, and to speak in support of Medvedchuk, then a pro-Russian Ukrainian politician who faced criminal proceedings for high treason. Also tasked Gill with finding other MEPs to speak to 112 and give him talking points to pass on to them. The court heard Gill mainly enlisted MEPs from the UK, but also some from Germany and France. No case was presented that these MEPs knew Gill was being bribed. Damn. That's some crazy shit, guys. Holy fuck. Now, he wasn't part of the... he wasn't part of the UK government, right? He was part of the... He was a member of European Parliament. So this is the, I believe, the lower chamber of the European Union, representative from the United Kingdom. But Jesus. Not good. $13,000 USD. That's how you know the UK's economy is like fucked. This guy got $40,000 to do treason from another country? God damn. Oh, Sargon ran for a member of European Parliament, not the UK government. Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was for the UK government. There's no lower chamber. It's one parliament. For the European Parliament, I thought they had the European Commission, which was like the upper body or upper chamber, and then the European Parliament, which was the lower chamber. And the Commission is like one member from each state. But anything that goes through the Parliament has to be passed by or okayed unanimously or something by the Commission. That's not the same thing. Destiny is correct. The Commission is like the White House. Commission is the government. Parliament is just a voting body. The Commission is the executive. You're thinking of the Council. Oh, maybe I'm thinking of the Council. Is the European Council one member per state? That's the upper body? Okay. Police began investigating Gill after tip-offs from their intelligence sources, including the FBI, who found messages to Gill on Voloshin's phone when he traveled to the U.S. in 2021. Damn. Good job. Biden's FBI. Maybe. 2021 would have been January. Yeah, it was okay. Right. I've received all promised Christmas gifts and requested 5 more postcards for your kind help next week during the debate. God damn. They found $5,000 in euros, I think that is, and $5,000 in cash. Does cash always mean USD, or I imagine? The court heard an application to recover £30,000 from Gill, but police think he could have made up to £40,000. Cash just means paper money. Oh. Even with the... Oh, so this is probably 5,000 USD in cash. Oh, so these were notes, is what they're saying. Okay. Wait, hold on. Yeah, good enough. All right. Sargon ran for the EU Parliament for UKIP, did a huge series of viral debate streams, touring around the UK, ultimately lost, but it blew up his profile over there a lot. Gotcha. He continued taking bribes after joining Nigel Farage's new Brexit party. Later, he led the party into the 2021 Senate election after it rebranded as Reform UK. When it says you lead the party, what does it mean by being a party leader if you're not currently like in the UK or or what does it mean to be the leader of the party? Do they like vote on who the leaders are, or each party still has a head? Do the people vote on it, or do the elected people vote on it? The parties elect their leaders. Depends on the party. Usually it's internal. Gill, elected party leader of Reform, did it say? Reform UK. What they say, or somebody just said he's close to Farage. What does he mean by close to Farage? No patriotic British political party. Patriotic? He was the leader of the Welsh branch. Okay. Okay, good to know that. Okay.
For talking points.
Okay.
For talking
Nice.
points that were not all that different from talking points that Farage has given.
Well, I'm confused.
So,
It sounds like your country imprisons people for being Russian stooges.
well, it was a bribe as a politician. So
Yeah, we just make
that's
them
kind of crossing a
bigger
line. Yeah.
Yeah, we just make them bigger podcasters and completely ignore it.
How
so.
quaint.
Hell yeah.
To what extent, if any, did Donald Trump's win boost reform in 2025? Did that have any impact?
Did Donald Trump boost them?
Yeah, by winning.
I don't know. I think he's maybe given people pointers on how to talk because Reform have borrowed a little bit from Trump. But yeah, no, there are some things about Trump that are maybe a bit less popular here. Like the Russia thing is going to be a problem for Farage. The closer you get to Ukraine, the more uncool it is to sympathize with Russia, basically. Makes sense. But yeah, it's probably helped them a bit. But no, like Farage is tapping into something that's existed in the British population for a really long time. Like we're an old population, average age is like mid-40s. Farage speaks to the kind of like average British geezer like very, very closely. He is very... We still like to preserve the image of like British liberalism and Churchill and caring for refugees and all that, but also these boats going too far, you know, like, so he can basically push like a really aggressive immigration policy, but use all the rhetoric of having a moderate one. He talks very much to like the bureaucratic sort of like homegrown philosophy, anti-intellectualism that's really popular in the UK, where he basically thinks that like his whole economic policy is to say that the government is full of useless, faceless bureaucrats and they're just bloating and we need to come in and cut all the bloat. So their entire economic policy is we're just going to find 20 times more waste than everyone else. Doge. Like they've been having this in their manifestos for 10 years. I don't even know whose idea it was first. But yeah, Farage is very much like presenting himself as the guy who's going to come in and kick out all the disconnected, like posh latte drinking, like desk fuckers, and get back to basics. And obviously, they've got councillors. They're in charge of councils right now, Reform, and all of them are raising council tax. So they come in and they realize that they can't. Yeah.
I don't know why we're talking about UK. We should be talking about Scotland because you're Scottish, aren't you, Loner? And Scotland was very much essential to Labour's rise, right? Is them getting back a lot of the old constituencies that used to go Labour and went for the SNP, Scottish National Party, for a while, partly because of the frustration with the Conservatives.
I think maybe he meant we shouldn't be talking about all of the UK. We should be talking about Scotland or England versus Scotland, or I don't know.
The Tories, but also because of like scandals and bad shit from the SNP, right? So talk to me a little bit about how Scotland is doing. Are they going to swing Reform?
It's still in the air right now. We don't know. First of all, sorry, you're very much overestimating Scotland's say in the United Kingdom. So Labour, it's been a long time, I think, since Labour's actually depended on Scotland or even close to Scotland for their election victory. They've swept the first past the post system with or without Scotland. They did not need us for that. Obviously, they've regained a lot.
Okay, way to own me.
Sorry, listen, I just like to tell you the facts, okay? Listen, Scottish politics is fucking boring, okay? We have a really good government in Scotland, or we have had, at least in the local way, because we have multiple elections in Scotland. We have the general election in the UK, we've got local elections, and local elections are split into two different kinds of seats, where you've got regional votes, and also, which are much more proportional, and then you've got the first past the post votes for the members of Scottish Parliament. So, yeah, and the result of that is that we basically always, unless a party is massively popular, we always have coalitions. And our coalitions, especially with the Greens and SNP, have been really good. Like we've managed to dodge a lot of the crazy austerity that happened under the Tories. We still have our free prescriptions. We have like free bus travel for everyone I think is under 21. And I think we have free dental care. Free dental care for under 26. Yeah. Our tap water is manna from the heavens. Yeah, we're doing all right. But obviously our future, again, we don't know. The SNP have had scandals. They've basically been the dominant party for a bit too long. They've been a bit complacent. Scottish independence is still their main platform, even though support for that has not really moved in 10 years. It was 45% 10 years ago when we had a referendum. I think last time I checked, it was 45%. So unfortunately, it's not really going to be up to us. If we're going to get dragged with wherever England goes.
I'm a bit jealous of you guys with the parliamentary system, because I feel like if America had a parliamentary system and the left flank of the Democratic Party had their own party and political identity, that would actually go a long way in alleviating some of that tension. Whereas, you guys, you form these coalitions, and I think it's easier to maintain an identity. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, but like some people were pointing out, like, I don't know about like you guys, what your chats tell you, but my chat tells me all the time that like the Labour Party has like ran to the right. To what extent is that true? Have they given up a lot of their left-wing policies? Are they, too aggressively attacking the center, the center right? What's going on with Labour?
Yeah, well, obviously, it's a combination of two things. One is that, unfortunately, in the 2019 election, for reasons that I think are not entirely his fault, Corbyn was just, his campaign was a disaster. He had like the biggest loss for Labour since 1935 or something. And then after that, Keir Starmer's solution was to basically purge everyone who was connected to Corbyn, sometimes with slightly valid reasons, sometimes with like the most trivial reasons possible. And then the result of that is, yeah, a lot of Starmer's road has just been to separate himself from that as much as possible. So on immigration, he's actually ceded about as much as you possibly can to the right wing without becoming a fascist, like as much as you can within reason. And so it's much harder to immigrate to the UK. A lot of work visas for entire sectors that we used to have open just aren't open anymore. A lot of loopholes. It's much harder to bring your family and kids if you're going to migrate, especially as a student, or your income has to be a lot higher. So they've done that on immigration. On economics, they've basically said that they would stay with Tory fiscal policy. So there's no ambition in terms of, he promised not to raise income tax. So now they're just trying to do there's like a mansion tax, which is a good idea, but it's not going to raise that much. So the problem is that unlike...
Wait, whose chat is this? Damn, Lonerbox's chat. Corbyn got rat fucked by liberals. Oh wow, it's Loner Cuck, one of the original genocide Avengers apologists. Is he at Rose was 17? What? Do these people just flood Loner's chat, or is this Loner's? Oh, that's the Live and Learn chat. Oh, okay, that makes way more sense. So by that you mean this is Peace Coast chat flooding into the Live and Learn? Gotcha. Okay.
I think even Biden.
Sorry, the lib. I know it's called Live and Learn, but the chat are like deranged online tanky snarker fucks. So okay,
there's not really
mainly from Peace Coast side because he doesn't believe in moderating anything. Yeah,
any new and exciting economic policy that they can claim. There's just
he needs to break his promises.
Sorry.
He needs to break.
He does need to break his promises, or he should.
Keir Starmer is the hutch type he loves.
Have made them in the first place. Yeah. Like, yeah, he's less popular.
Like
he's less popular than politicians who did. Yeah, he's less popular than politicians who did break promises. So why not? Hey,
well, it kind of feels like the Boris Johnson situation where he was just like blatantly lying everywhere, and it does feel like Boris is still in good standing among some members, or there are people who want to bring back Boris, right? I mean, I don't understand if he's hated, and there are even reports I always see like news stories. Is Labour going to kick out Starmer? Is there going to be an internal coup? Because that's all it would take, right? Is like a no confidence motion or something like that. Labour could, if it wanted to, get rid of Starmer, but it just feels like that would be, I don't know, a sign.
Dusty's ever seen Rose of 17 yet? That person spams constantly during Live and Learn. I feel like I've seen it before, but there's so many unhinged accounts out there that are like Justical Discord alts and everything. Yeah, good one.
A disaster sign for Labour in the future.
Listen, unless you've seen something I haven't, I'm going to correct a bit of the disinformation again. Okay, Boris Johnson is fucked in terms of any popularity anymore because
among conservatives,
the Conservative Party, maybe not. No, but instead, well, among conservatives who are going to. In terms of right-wingers who are going to decide to vote in the next election, yeah. The problem is that when we left the European Union, the Tories' migration policy left a lot of options that would have allowed just a massive number of people to come in, and also coincided with like 3 refugee crises with Afghanistan, Ukraine, and Hong Kong. But like Boris Johnson, in terms of replacing the European migrants, brought in like new student visas, for example, which made it really easy for they targeted mostly Nigeria and India, and it meant that if you came on a student visa, you could bring dependents. So most people who came in relation to student visas under Boris Johnson's new policy were the kids and spouses of students, which means that they're getting the NHS paid for, but the education is not getting paid for by the way. So yeah, we basically had like net migration of almost 1 million. So right wingers they call it the Boris wave. They call that migration wave the Boris wave. So he's gonna.
Oh, so they hate him for being too pro immigration.
He would have a hard time bouncing back from that. I mean, he's trying to blame like the bureaucrats. So maybe he'll find somewhere there, but I don't know. I think it's unlikely. I could be wrong. What else? Fuck. What were you asking me? I'm sorry.
That was it. We're just talking UK shit.
Okay.
I don't know. You guys about Epstein at all? I mean,
yeah, you guys brought him on just to talk UK stuff. I'm sure he's got plenty of thoughts on what's going on here.
Yeah, I guess we were talking shit about your Venezuela. No, we just were curious of your takes on the Venezuelan oil tankers and the Maduro regime and all that.
Oh yeah, the tankers. Well, it's not. I don't think my take's that controversial on the tankers. Maybe Fisco disagreed. When it comes to like any measures that are of principles in international law, the problem is like
who cares? Go for it, Ira.
Well, no, you had a thought on it. Please go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I care a lot about actual motivations, and I fucking hate pretext. And so maybe I would hear you that, like, international law just a meme, and maybe I'll hear you that it's not settled under U.S. law to the extent to which these.
Didn't Lonerbox defend the strikes on Venezuela? Real Kathy Doyle. I feel like I see this Kathy person as a logistical person. I forget what their full name. They usually go by Kathy something else or whatever. God damn, dude, the amount of disrespect. I guess maybe Hutch is still in the learning phase of like, I need to demand more positive actions. When I say positive, I mean doing something as opposed to like idling, whatever, like positive and like take a step. It's crazy the amount of just like shitting on, like they have an anti-liberal chat on a show called Live and Learn. That's just crazy to me. Like their chat is like like tanky leftists, like they hate fucking liberals. And the show's Live and Learn. Why? I don't know.
Some of these treaties are self-executed. Maybe I'll hear you that it's not settled whether the U.S. has jurisdiction, and so we might as well try. Maybe I could hear all that if I actually believe the motivation that was
what's Lonerbox's take on Israel-Palestine
underlying this purported action, which is if we really cared about the aggression from Russia, we should start first by doing things that are very clearly legal and within our authority, such as giving unrestricted amounts of aid to Ukraine and supporting them in their diplomatic efforts. And the Trump administration has shown no desire to truly help Ukraine the way it deserves to be helped. And on that basis, I view, and you do as well, that these actions are just pretext to warmonger with Venezuela, an action that I'm against. I'm against that stuff. And I'm against also the bombing of Iran. And so given that...
That Kathy person has about 100 alts. It's every tangent server. He's the one that puts on a fake Indian accent. Yeah, that person, yeah.
I'm not in support of it as a policy matter, even if I took the view that international law or maritime law were just memes.
Well, forgive me, but I think what you guys are saying is this is the Trump administration actually supporting the sanctions and taking action, because my understanding is these tankers are like Venezuelan oil. That's
Lonerbox is a Zionist. Oh, that's why Lonerbox loves ethnic cleansing. He doesn't believe in international law.
Going to Cuba, and also like Iran, like are using them as well. Like I don't understand the Russia connection beyond just the Trump administration standing up for sanctions. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, can you elaborate on Russian shadow fleet?
Well, because
the tankers we boarded aren't Russian, part of the Russian shadow fleet, are they?
The first one was. It's owned by a guy.
Really?
It's owned by a guy called.
What is Desley mainly debating Constantine on UK immigration? No, that's not the main thing. But he's able to, when he's debating other people, he's able to retreat to a lot of like, well, this is the UK and it's a lot different than the US, which I agree to some extent it's true. But then nobody from the US learns the politics of any other country, so they're not able to actually have a discussion on the weird pivots that Constantine does. So I want to be familiar enough with the UK scene to blow up those arguments if they come up, basically.
Artemov, I think his name is. Yeah, that's why it was sanctioned under the Biden administration, actually, because it was so the tanker, the connection is basically that Russia is sanctioned by so many countries that it can't go into the territorial waters of like European countries or the USA. But what they can do is they can have this fleet that is filled with ships that are registered to one country, but that country might not necessarily agree that it's registered to them, or they will have like devices on them that can scramble people's data so that they can't get tracked, and then they allow Russia to sell their oil. And also, as part of, because it's a fleet, they can also deal with other countries that are allies of theirs. So
busted.
This is a PSA. Real Kathy Doyle is a liar, a lying cunt. Asking for evidence.
All right, well, she's
please don't be.
Cuba. It was going to China probably, or Iran, Russia. I don't know why someone who this real Kathy Doyle is in chat who's asking me why I support. I have never in my entire life supported the Venezuelan strikes on boats. That person's a liar. They lie to me all the time. So it's
busted.
It's a PSA. Real Kathy Doyle is a liar, a lying cunt. Asking for evidence. Fuck off. Anyway.
All right. Well, she's.
Please don't be from my chat. Please don't be from my chat.
That's a good segue, because I wanted to ask you, lean into the slap a little bit. Why do lefties hate you more than like 1,000 other liberals that I feel like are who espouse views that are more contrary to their cause?
The two things are, one, Lonerbox used to be associated with me, so Hassan did a very like specific and intentional targeting of Lonerbox. I think sometimes even borrowing from Gisticle stuff. Like, I'm pretty sure Gisticle messaged him talking about, I feel like I heard Hassan say something once about like, oh, didn't Destiny bang your girlfriend? Like something weird, really weird like that. I'm pretty sure there's that. And then there's the second fact is that Lonerbox actually reads stuff, so his opinions on things are generally pretty reasonable. And that's like not acceptable to the group of retards that are, that inhabit these lefty spaces. Because he's not like a hardcore fucking tanky or whatever. Is this just Peace Coast chat on screen? Hutch's chat wouldn't be like this. Apparently this is the Lib and Learn chat, or it's all the chats aggregated. I don't remember. It was one of those. Most of these people are people that spend a lot of time in Peace Coast chat because Peace Coast refuses to moderate his community and has no consideration for the other people that are on this show. I seriously doubt they would be in IRI's chat or Hutch's chat. The Soy Pill might, but I feel like he has a little bit more social awareness that he wouldn't be okay with that, especially about his co-host during the show. But Peace Coast is I don't know. Yeah.
But for some reason, they really fucking hate you, bro. Like, can you explain that? Like, when did that start? Because didn't you start with BreadTube? Weren't you like a pretty far lefty, like BreadTuber at one point?
Socialist.
listen.
You're a socialist.
Yeah, I was a socialist.
Motorbox,
Yes.
you're a
I was a
socialist.
corp-
Yes
I was
or
a
no?
Corbyn
Okay.
throwing. Yeah, I was an open
Are you a
socialist.
socialist still?
No.
Are you still a
No, I'm a
socialist?
social democrat now.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
That's a kind of.
Listen,
that's a little bit-
Hutch. I came here to talk. I came here to talk to my lib friends about lib stuff. Okay, we can do drama slop another time. Okay, I'm just saying.
I love this guy. I love this guy.
The answer is really simple, right? Like it's a narcissism of small differences. People like the worst thing for any political extremist group or political radical is a traitor, right? Like that's so. Yeah, obviously that's worse. Yeah.
But Loaderbox, are
So
you not
do
a
you-
leftist anymore?
I mean, I'm a left social democrat. Like I still support co-ops. I still support I'm very
That's a
liberal
lib.
and
Lonerbox's position on Israel is an admission to Zionism.
immigration.
He's a fucking Zionist shill and genocide apologist.
Yeah. Well, fine. Yeah.
Let's chart your maturation or your the development of your views. What caused you to stop using the label socialist?
Few things. One is the Europe.
He found his niche grift.
You guys know this, the European American difference, right? I think you guys had this argument when you were talking about socialism in that panel.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you were oddly quiet. Lonerbox, because there isn't that
I
distinction.
reacted to
And
the whole
label-
thing. I wasn't on that panel. I was watching it. Of course I was quiet. I was on the panel. Disinformation from
No. But what I'm saying is there is this notion of a socialist policy platform that members of the Labor Party were advertising as explicitly socialist.
Yeah.
And so when the Econo Boy was saying all that stuff, it was true. And you had people like Counterpoint saying, no, communism, socialism only means one thing, and it only means what we say. That's the only thing that's socialism. And I would defend you if you were to call yourself a socialist in the tradition of the UK.
Yeah, that's because in Europe we define these words differently. Like Clement Attlee is a really good example, right? Because he pushed the welfare state and all these very, very obviously liberal compatible policies, right? Because the UK didn't turn into a socialist country. I think the thing people miss there is that we've usually had, at least in the 20th century, we would have a socialist party like Labour.
This fucking chat, holy shit.
That because really.
The market demanded he shift. They're just saying that that Lonerbox is a grifter based.
It usually had, at least in the 20th century.
And then Mr. Mandela effect. Ding, ding, ding. Yeah, Jesus.
We would have a socialist party like Labour, mostly funded by unions, as well as by half and half unions and other donors. And then we would have communist parties. The Communist Party in the UK hated Clement Attlee, and he hated them. He hunted them down, actually.
Yeah.
The closest we ever came to McCarthyism in the UK was under Attlee. Lots of civil servants lost their jobs. Most of them were innocent because they were accused of Soviet sympathies or being communist. So that's the difference. In Europe, we have loads of socialist parties, but they're not socialist in the sense that they want to abolish capitalism. They're socialist in the sense that they are influenced by the ideas of Karl Marx and the reformism of, I forget the guy, Bernstein, I think it is. Yeah, they're social democrats. Yeah, they believe in tax and spend, tax welfare spending.
Lonerbox is lefts and rights for Palestinian children. Oh my God. Okay, I'm not going to read this chat anymore. Jesus Christ. Live and learn, by the way. What a joke. Holy fuck.
It's like the same in Germany. They've got the SPD, the Social Democratic Party, and then they've got Die Linke, which is like the actual communist, and that distinction doesn't exist here. People are a little too brain rotted for it.
It does exist. It's just that, in America, people who are social democrats call themselves socialists, but people are, or just American socialists are kind of confused because they're always both. Right? They're revolutionaries, but then they're also, honey, I just want healthcare. So yeah.
Yeah, you can find modern polls recently where it's it'll say that 40% of Americans or whatever think that the country needs more socialism, but what 99% of those people mean is government provided healthcare, stronger, more robust social safety nets. Yeah.
Well, Mamdani identifies as a democratic socialist. So would you say he's further left than you?
Probably for other reasons, but yeah, I guess my understanding is that the difference between a social democrat and a democratic socialist is that social democrats want welfare and some things to be nationalized and higher taxes, and democratic socialists kind of want the same thing but more, and also with a further goal of moving beyond capitalism completely. I think is the idea. There's more of a first principle there of decommodifying and ending the relation between labor and capital. So I'd imagine that's the difference. That seems to be they're usually farther. Yeah.
I don't know, you guys tell me, but have the DSA always been this explicitly Marxist, or have they become more explicitly Marxist in recent years? Because I feel like the DSA that's around now is a little bit different than the DSA that kind of emerged in 2016 in the wake of all the Bernie stuff. Because when you look at the more prominent kind of chapters of DSA, if you watch their conventions, I mean, they are pretty explicitly Marxist, across the board.
I can't say.
I'm so sorry to derail. Why is someone saying that I'm not a Mamdanite but a Maronite, hence my views on Islam? Isn't that just what?
I like
racist just because I'm a Maronite? What's going on here? What's this Orientalist fucking?
Wait, who said it? Who said it?
Somebody said that I'm a Maronite, hence my views on Islam.
We all know.
Who said it?
We all know whose chat this is coming from.
That's racism. Wait, wait a second. Tell me the name. We'll get the name.
It's gone past. The chat's on fire.
Who did it?
I'm so sorry. If you're gonna have a stream, how can you not moderate the chat? I don't understand. It's like, this is just like the most fucking retarded thing in the universe. Like, if you don't want to moderate the chat or do anything at all, then just turn the chat off. I think you can do that on YouTube, right? Or turn it to members only and then set it to like a 7,000 month limit or whatever. Why the fuck would you, especially if you know, and he has known for a year, especially when you know that it bothers other guests on the show or your co-hosts, why would you do that? It's like, there's no defense for that. It's so fucking stupid. It's so brainless. Ugh.
Everyone, snitches will get benefits. You'll get a wrench if you snitch.
This is apeful creep. You're under the hot seat right now. Lunderbox is calling you out specifically.
What the fuck is a Maronite? What is that?
It's a Lebanese Christian. They're like
Catholics.
Catholics. They love the French. Yeah, they're weird. But that's me.
If we find the person, if it's in my chat who made a racist comment because of his, or I don't know, a religious discriminatory comment, you're gonna get banned. All right. So whoever said that,
Loner, what are your views regarding Islam?
I'm an atheist, so probably the same view that I have on Christianity and Judaism.
Let's talk a little bit
Good
about
aesthetics, though. Good aesthetics.
Let's talk a little bit about like the perception of American politics, where in your neck of the woods. Obviously, when Trump won, there were concerns or fears that he had established these kind of permanent demographic realignments and sort of remade this brand new coalition that the Democrats would have.
Like, I don't like the. I think the gawk comment is funny. The girl cock comment is funny because conservatives obsess over it. But when I see that every single time anything trans related gets brought up, okay, well, hold on. This is getting kind of weird that we're spamming gawk for everything. Okay, so I'm like, okay, let's curb that a little bit. I don't understand how you have a chat that can do a whole bunch of stuff that seems to be, ostensibly, Pisco says he doesn't agree with it, but all of them are engaged in this behavior. How does that not make you stop for a second and be like, oh shit, maybe there's something going on here that I need to pay attention to? Not just like, give me the name and the one person to ban. Give me the one comment that upset you on a ban. It's like, why does your comment fester with these types of comments or people? To not even like think about that for a microsecond, that's just, I can't, it's almost unbelievable to me. Go back 5 seconds and read his chat. I don't know which one of these are technically his, but
obviously when Trump won, there were concerns or fears that he had established these kind of permanent demographic realignments and sort of
what, the whole It's Always Peace Coast chat, or
remade this brand new coalition.
Pisco's got a fuck ton of tankies now that he's fostered.
The Democrats would have a hard time contending with in the future.
Okay, why were lefties mean to him online? If they were mean to him for being pro-Israeli, then that doesn't explain why he was inexplicably pro-Israeli in the first place. Inexplicably. Okay. Hold strong, no snitchers.
That is just utterly collapsed in the last year. But is that recognized in England? Do you guys still view as Trump is particularly strong politically, or what's the perception over there?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't know about England because I'm Scottish. The Trump.
I didn't say England. I said your neck of the woods.
You said
particularly strong.
Right, whatever.
But is that recognized in England? Do you guys still view as Trump is particularly strong politically, or what's the perception over there?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't know about England because I'm Scottish.
I would always just say the UK, just as a quick refresher, okay? Just for all of my wonderful American friends, okay? This is an accurate, 100% accurate map because I know exactly what these places look like. It looks exactly like this, okay? You have, I think that's accurate. There we go. This is a country called England. Well, actually, I don't know if that's true. A mini country, a state? I don't know what they call themselves, but you have England, which is some kind of nation thing. You have Scotland. They have their own governments. There you go. You have Wales, not the kind that swim. And then you have Northern Ireland. We'll just call them NI. Okay, that looks threatening. This is the island of Great Britain, okay? This whole island is called Great Britain. All four of these things together form a country called the United Kingdom of North Ireland and Great Britain, okay? That's what the UK is. It's the United Kingdom of North Ireland and Great Britain. This island here is called, I think it's just called Ireland. And then this country here is the Republic of Ireland or something. I don't know, something like that. Okay. I just say the UK if you're trying to refer to anybody in this thing. I don't know if Scottish people are generally okay being referred to as British. I feel like British is usually used more interchangeably with English, even though Britain is the whole island. I've never heard anybody refer to like, oh, Scottish people, Welsh people, and English people are British, but Northern Ireland people are Irish. Maybe some people, I've never heard that, but like, I think British and English are kind of interchangeable. You could just use English to be more specific for England, and then you've got Scottish, you've got the Beluga Whales. I don't know what these people call themselves. I don't know if they call themselves Irish or what the fuck, but nobody literally ever talks about North Ireland. The only time North Ireland is ever brought up is when these three guys need to make a deal, but they have to keep in mind that North Ireland and the Republic of Ireland like to bomb each other if these guys don't make a deal that somehow satiates both these players. I don't know why exactly, whatever the fuck. Something about Friday, something about Catholicism and drinking and potatoes or something. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, so I just say you're from the UK. Are you from the UK? You're the UK. You're the UK. That's it. Don't use British, English, fuck them. You're from the UK. That's all we need as Americans. And that's these, that's these people right here.
The Trump.
I didn't say England. I said your neck of the woods.
You said
England.
You said England. Rewind the VOD right now. Stop. No. Yeah. Fucking. I don't know. Yeah. Trump is. I feel like Trump can only ever have so much influence on the UK, and I have a kind of like very subjective opinion on why, but yeah, I don't really. It's really hard to tell. Probably not. Like the failure, like MAGA being in the problem that they're in now, is probably not going to save us all that much because Reform they've never been in power. They're always going to be the fresh thing on the menu, right? Like so. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to affect them all that much. Farage has been quite clever at avoiding the Trumpisms that would get him into too much trouble. In the UK,
support for Brexit in the UK was almost like a reflection of the right wing rise in America, though. I know
yes, I think that was 100%.
Well, like I think to build on what Hutch is saying is like, has the attitude about Trump changed? Like, is it the end of the world, or are people like, okay, that's not working out for Trump? He's getting owned in special elections. Like, what's the vibes?
I don't really. It's hard to say because I don't actually know how easily I can follow UK opinions on Trump. I don't know how often he comes up.
Do you cover American politics a lot in your day to day, or do you focus mostly on your own?
We talk about it in day to day, yeah. But
the UK is a country, and each part are also countries. Yeah, kind of, but they have a combined government that's like a country. And like I think for Europe, or I'm sorry, for the European Union, they were in the European Union. I believe is a single country, right? The UK. That's why there was a big deal about. When I think the Scottish people for a while were kind of memeing, or I shouldn't say memeing, but they were talking about leaving the United Kingdom because I think when they did the Brexit vote, I think the majority of Scottish people wanted to stay in the European Union, but the majority of English people from England voted to leave. And so the Scottish people were like, we should do a referendum on whether or not we want to split from the United Kingdom. But they were in the UK as one, internationally it's seen as one country.
But like on our political shows are things like, what do you call it? Like on BBC Question Time and things like that. The US politics generally it's only ever spoken about quite broadly, I think. Obviously, when Trump won, that was a whole big thing in the UK because it emboldened a lot of people that obviously are now.
Wait, it's not my chat. This guy's not my chat.
Yeah, you got your apology, Leonard. Don't worry. Just so you know.
Got him.
You motherfuckers, gaslight.
Whose fucking chat is this?
Not in my
Can't
chat.
be IRI. So
Maybe,
I was trying to police him.
Like the fact that Pisco's looking for this one particular singular comment in his chat and doesn't see like all the other billion crazy fuck comments are just so fucking stupid. But whatever.
It's just like that's a strange thing to see in a chat. Anyway, yeah.
So basically, you guys are the Don Draper meme. You're like, I don't really think about you at all.
Oh, I mean, people do, but I just don't know how much how much it shows in our regular like political like broadcasting. Because I mean, it's also just because I don't watch as much of like I used to watch a lot of like BBC Question Time and like breakfast politics and stuff like that. But I've kind of strayed away from that a lot more recently. Mostly just because living in Scotland, so much of what happens in UK politics, you have so little agency over it. Maybe that will change given how much more diversity there's going to be in the next election. But yeah, for now, it's very
your personal thoughts.
My personal thoughts.
He's dementia Don, and he's falling apart, and he's not a threat.
Yeah, my personal thoughts is that it's absolute chaos. Yeah, it's total chaos. Yeah, like it's especially hard, I think, because I don't know. I think if Trump was maybe more of a concrete, like like ideological fascist, I mean, he is a fascist, but to be clear, but if he was more like he followed like all the rules of like what a fascist does, rather than flip-flopping between some of these like slightly more neocon hawkish positions and then the other populist fascists, I think because he's like that and because the ideology of MAGA is much more the ideology of Trump.
God damn, bro. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to talk about it anymore, but like, holy, it's been message after message after message. Jesus. Loner Boy and Hutch are pure drama slop tubers. Loner Box's favorite dessert is spotted dick. Oh my God. Like, if you go back, it's like nonstop. Loner is pretty fragile, so I'm pretty sure he'll obsess over it and find the guy.
Yeah, it's total chaos. Yeah, like
Loner is an honorary Jew, by the way. We crowned him over Hanukkah Limpheo. I don't know if I think that's just a joke.
It's especially hard, I think, because
I'm done. Okay.
I don't know.
Spotted dick is a real British thing, though? Oh, never mind. Maybe that's my bad. Just kidding. That wasn't a mean comment. Then.
I think if Trump was maybe more of a concrete, like ideological fascist, I mean, he is a fascist, but to be clear, but if he was more like he followed like all the rules of like what a fascist does, rather than flip-flopping between some of these like slightly more neocon hawkish positions and then the other populist fascists, I think because he's like that.
But it could also be a joke too, so actually I'm not sure. I don't know.
Because the ideology of MAGA is much more the ideology of Trump than anything else. I think once he's gone, replacing him is going to be very, very hard because...
Okay, Loner Box, let's get the brass tacks. Do you support Trump's Israel policy?
His Israel policy? No.
Why not?
Well, because he allowed Israel to block aid for, what was it, 3 months?
So you're a Candace Owens fan at this point.
Yeah, if it's Trump or Candace, that's a hard one, okay? Because I do like
it's a joke because it's a real dessert. So here's the problem. I don't know the dessert, but I know that a lot of you guys say the most retarded fucking things in the universe too. So like if I wanted to call Lonerbox gay and I was like, oh, Lonerbox loves to eat hot fudge, and like I know that there would be retards in my chat like you, Twisted, that would say things like, oh no, hot fudge is a real dessert, bro, but you would just be fucking retarded. So I don't know enough about spotted dick or that chatter to know, so I'm just not saying it 100%, but if you're saying in chat like, oh no, that's a real food, you're fucking retarded. So but you know
they look cool.
Can I ask, in terms of international policy, it does seem like that is a focus of your streams, and that you take the time to try to like get in the weeds there. From the perspective of UK or from your perspective personally, what about Trump's foreign policy do you find good? And do you think that Democrats should embrace, if anything?
What about it do I find? Nothing. Trump has no vision. He has absolutely no vision. No. I'm trying to think.
I mean, the Iran strikes were just kind of an unequivocal dub for Trump, right? Like
I think the Iran strikes, like maybe, but again, I think with Trump, the only way that the Iran strikes work is if you're willing to do it when they try to rebuild and do the same thing again, which I think Trump, he might do, or he might not, because it won't be interested anymore. So I don't know what the point is.
To try to do it again?
Israel's going to ask him when they're at Mar-a-Lago next week, aren't they?
Right. Would you support that? Would you support additional strikes against Iran and maybe war?
It would depend on what Iran's doing. If they're doing the same thing as last time, yes.
I'm so curious. Are there like logs for this? I'm curious whose Twitch chat right now is that Rose was 17% is operating out of. Holy shit. How do you see a name like that even? What do you think, like how much do you think Pisco would baby rage if I had like a popular chatter called Pisco is fake lawyer? How much do you think he would lose his fucking shit over that? Jesus.
Yes.
Oh shit.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I feel slightly better knowing that their nuclear program was hampered, and you know what was the result of that? Like nothing. They did an inconsequential strike.
The criticism to Hutch's point here is that Iranian nuclear situation was in a way created by Trump, so he doesn't really get much credit for solving it. You know.
In Qatar or whatever, and then they gave us advance notice that they were going to do it. It was just purely symbolic to save face. So I don't know. I just feel like if we're just being optics cucked, that was just like incredibly good optics for him. Like there's just no downside for it.
What the fuck? What is this? Chrome has combined things now? Wait, how do I undo? Wait, I didn't want to do this. What the fuck? Wait. Separate view? Oh, Jesus. Hassan is Christ-like, and you are not Hutch. This was 2 days ago? When was this? This was a month ago. Hutch is, quote, protecting the West, end quote. He is Connor with a mask on. Jesus Christ. I just want to thank you, Pisco, because I know you're not a politician, but you've really shown people in this country what Christianity should be and what it means to actually live out the teachings of Jesus, even in a stream show. Can I have chatters like this, please? I need chatters like this. Were they watching me a few days ago? Destiny is laughing uncomfortably. I wonder why. Every time I laugh, by the way, it's because I'm deeply uncomfortable or insecure about something. Okay, I no longer feel sympathy for any bad shit that gets said about Pisco Online. Jesus Christ, what an actual fucking retard. All right.
Right?
Yeah, but the only reason he was able to even do this is because he sabotaged the nuclear deal that would have like prevented any worry about this in the first place. Which is like, yeah, okay, you maybe sort of fixed the mess that you created. Like, I don't know. Is it only optics cucked because everyone forgot about the nuclear deal that he sabotaged? Like,
that's correct. Swipebill's right.
Nobody cares.
I think the other problem is as well is that the details of that nuclear deal were just not as good as I think people made them out to be. They were temporary, and if you look at the way that they were negotiated, especially from what the Ayatollah was saying, was that the whole point was to try and make it temporary. There were I can go into I don't remember the details from that long ago, but yeah, if you looked at what the Ayatollah wanted, the point of the nuclear deal was basically to stall Iran's nuclear policy, and especially with what the Ayatollah wanted was a lot of these whatever they're called. Are they called snapbacks or something? Like the way that the sanctions worked in terms of responding to violations.
Trump could have negotiated something else.
He could have negotiated something else. Yeah,
and he could have extended it indefinitely. And I just think that we should be more principled with respect to, I don't know, Congress being the body that's supposed to declare war. They call it the 12-day war. This was engaging in war with another country.
To be clear, I don't. Given the way that the Ayatollah was approaching the first JCPOA, I think it's probably unlikely that they would have been able to extend it indefinitely. It seemed that what Iran wanted was to stall and to buy enough goodwill to the point that they could get into just the same status as every other country when it came to nuclear non-proliferation, whatever the UN convention is on it. But then the problem with that is that would have made it much easier for them to sneakily go ahead and try to weaponize again. Because obviously that's why they've always had that they've been treated differently, right? It's because they did try to pursue a weapons program in 2003.
It wasn't the only solution, therefore, Loner Box, to implement regime change in Iran, get rid of the Ayatollahs, and institute some kind of different style, pro-Western administration of that country.
No, just bomb the facilities whenever they start fucking with uranium beyond any civilian use. That's, just drop some busters in the holes like they did last time. Yeah,
get the Top Gun jets going.
They'd have to do it every 6 months at this phase. I think eventually we're going to get an announcement.
I don't know if they'd have to do it every 6 months. Like the problem is that I guess what happened, we still don't seem to know exactly how much damage was done to the first program. But also, I think the regime can only tolerate that for so long. The regime in Iran is deeply unpopular, and it seems like the result of those strikes has just made it worse for them. I think there was a PBS documentary about it not that long ago where they were talking about how it's already a trend now that people are going into especially Iranian women have started to just walk around the streets without their veils anymore, despite the fact that it's very illegal. And the Ayatollah says it's illegal all the time. And that has increased quite a bit as well, especially since the 12-day war. And that's because the regime's legitimacy and the amount of appetite in Iran to defy them is just growing. So that regime is not going to last forever. And they're definitely not going to be able to fuck around forever in the way that they do.
There's a story, actually. Did you see there was a woman who took her veil off and ran through a sizzler?
I did not see that one particularly, no.
Yeah, that was a crazy thing. They arrested her for that, if you believe it.
Can't serve on the jury in Iran anymore.
Loner, what are the AI vibes in the UK? And do you personally use ChatGPT as an information aggregate?
I might use ChatGPT to get a thread. I'll be like, can you just tell me something that I can look up? And then I'll look it up. Man, I've caught ChatGPT just like they make up facts. I've done this on stream.
I don't want to get into all this right now, okay? It's too
confusing.
What? Is this the recent, or this chat is around this time? We love Loner Box. Sorry, no more esoteric jokes about long-standing ethnic feuds. Oh, that's that apeful creep guy. That's a gistical dude, I think. I think, is this a tweet or something? I don't know what platform this is from. I think this is a tweet. He was the guy that made the not a Mamdanite, but a Marionite or Maronite, hence his views regarding Islam. But this guy's like a huge Queeman fan. The April Creep guy. Epstein is a freak, but the main issue is Lonerbox defending the far-right fascist regime in Israel and their open policy of genocide. He's still like, why isn't there a higher death count? How am I brought up in this at all? This is a racist comment. Ask Lonerbox why he supported the Srebrenica massacre. So this is a really bad massacre Israel did in Lebanon in, was it 2006? Or was it in the first Civil War? No, this might have been in the 80s, I think. Somebody said 80s in chat, yeah. Yeah, but the implication here being that Lonerbox's family is from people who collaborated with the Israelis to engage in what was, I don't know if you call this like genocidal activity, but basically just like the greenlighting the elimination of an entire group of people, civilians, while standing by and doing nothing. You know, it was the Maronites who did it. Yeah, which is why that's why they dropped the Maronite comment or whatever. Yeah.
Try to do it again. It was not.
Lonerbox laughs at sniped children. Like this guy's name is Zog Unboxed.
Yeah, well, Israel's going to ask him.
Okay, I can't anymore. This is retarded. Okay, this is a stupid. I don't know why I'm like this. Stop. Don't care.
I was asking them some stuff about the 48 war, and I was like, I got it to admit it. It made it the fuck up. It was like, okay, yes, I made it the fuck up. I'm sorry. You're
okay.
Right.
There's not much UK stuff in here at all. I don't know why I was even linked this video. All right.